These two little guys are the iPhone 15 and 15 Pro, the latest phones from Apple, and in my opinion, this is a pretty big year for both of these phones. With smartphones these days, the best that we can hope for is a decent incremental update, but the updates that we've got in both of these models look great so far. Now, I normally don't do initial unboxing videos with iPhones just because the packaging is all relatively the same year to year, but I had to do one this year just because what's inside here does take a big leap forward in my opinion. The packaging on both of these is relatively the same as last year, but the first thing that you're probably going to notice, and that won't come as a surprise to anyone at this point, is that we now have a USB-C port on both of these with a provided USB-C cable. The cables are both braided this year and way nicer than in years past, and these are exactly the same between the regular 15 and the 15 Pro. We'll get into that in a few minutes, but let's just look at the actual phones first. If you look at the iPhone 15, the one that I have here is black, which is honestly the only color that I could justify picking out of this year's lineup. The rest of them, to me, just look like a washed out Easter series. That being said, I still love the look and the feel of this phone. It doesn't show fingerprints, which I kind of found a little bit surprising. You still have flat surfaces on it, but it does have rounded corners, so it does feel better to hold in your hand than previous years. The same goes for the 15 Pro. It's got those same rounded edges, and even though the 14 Pro and the 15 Pro are roughly the same thickness, those edges do make it appear a little bit thinner. The rounded corners in the titanium make this feel a lot better in your hand than the 14 Pro as well. The difference in weight is almost instantly noticeable between these two. The 15 Pro is 187 grams, down from 206 in the 14 Pro, where this regular iPhone 15 is only 171. For the first time in a long time, the 15 and the 15 Pro actually feel very similar. I've already noticed in my short time with the Pro how much of a difference it makes resting on my pinky finger when I'm holding the phone, and even though the design changes are subtle, to me the 15 Pro makes the 14 Pro look a bit dated. The one that I picked up is natural titanium, which I much prefer out of any of the colors that I saw when I got into the Apple store. It's kind of surprising how easily it picks up fingerprints. It's quite similar to stainless steel or brushed metal appliances and how easily they show up and what they show up like, but still much better than the sides of those high-gloss stainless Pro models. When you first turn the Pro on, after connecting your account, it'll ask you what you want to do with the new action button that replaces the mute switch. It does default to mute, but there are a bunch of different things that you can make it do. I set mine to a do not disturb focus mode for now, but you can even choose to do nothing with this if you're some kind of monster of a human being. The display on the Pro is the same as last year, I believe, so nothing to report there, but this regular 15 got a bump to 2000 nits peak brightness. It is a 60 Hz refresh rate, which I don't find is a huge deal in terms of scrolling and animation. Apple does that stuff pretty well to begin with, and it's not something that your average person will notice, but it does suck that the variable refresh rate ProMotion display is required for the always-on display, which you will not get in the regular 15. Still, if you're coming from an iPhone 12 or a 13, I think those only have about 1200 nits brightness, so the display is quite an upgrade. And you get the dynamic island as well. You'll also notice that the 15 Pro does have smaller bezels, and it's just a tiny bit smaller than the regular 15 and the 14 Pro, and I'm honestly a huge fan of both the 15 series phone designs. Now, I don't want to get into any real performance data quite yet because there is a lot of tests that I want to run and verify before we do that. There's likely things that I'm going to miss in this video, but I will be doing a full review on both of these phones, so if you want to check out a full in-depth analysis, just make sure that you're subscribed, and I should have those out in the next week or two. I do want to come back to those USB-C updates because there are some important things to note. So I did say that these cables are exactly the same. Both run at USB 2 speeds at 480 megabits per second, which is what the 15 tops out at, but the 15 Pro can reach speeds 20 times that at 10 gigabits per second. So if you do want to utilize that speed, you're gonna have to buy another cable for it. Apple offers Thunderbolt cables, but they're super expensive, coming in at around 60 to 70 bucks. So your best bet is to head over to Amazon and spend around 15 to 20 bucks on one that'll work just as good. The only thing that I would personally recommend is finding one with the transfer speed that's stamped on it, just because sometimes they can be hard to keep track of what cables have what speeds if you have a whole bunch of them. Regardless, if you don't want to shop around for these a bunch, I will have a link in the description to some of the ones that I like using. I briefly tested out that port plugging things in, and I can get USB hubs to work, SSDs, quite a few things on both the 15 and 15 Pro. They just go a lot faster on the Pro. That higher speed on the Pro does enable some things like external video recording in 4K ProRes at 60 frames per second to an SSD, which I'm really looking forward to trying out. This could be a huge boost if you're a filmmaker or a creator who shoots a lot of stuff on your iPhone, and there's already some pretty unreal content coming out of these phones. Outside that port functionality, charging stayed the same as last year with a max 27 watts fast charging on both the 15 and the 15 Pro. I just wanted to bring that up because I think there are some people getting confused thinking that the USB-C port doesn't have fast charging, but that's simply not the case. It just didn't change from last year. That's the same with MagSafe, same charging speed, and there hasn't really been any mention from Apple about battery life. I did notice the new 80% charge limit in iOS 17 that I have enabled just to ensure I have decent long-term battery health, but I really won't know what battery life is like until I dive into things a little bit more. That will be similar with the A17 Pro chip and the 15 Pro. It's supposed to be faster, but again, we'll wait and see. There's just a bunch of more testing that I need to do with this phone. That chipset is supposed to help with improvements to the cameras, which are a bit different this year as well. The 15, I think, took the biggest leap forward over last year because you get the 48 megapixel main sensor paired with an ultra-wide lens. So you now do get a 2x zoom option there now. That's not just a digital zoom. So it's kind of like having 3 different lenses in that sense. Both the 15 and the 15 Pro are a little bit different from last year in that they're now taking 24 megapixel images. And that's done by combining a 48 and a 12 megapixel image into one. So you get all the benefits of the light depth of the 12 megapixel one and the detail of the 48. So I'm really pumped to try this out more. The 15 Pro, not the Pro Max, but the Pro has basically the same lens package as last year, but I do believe the main sensor is a little bit bigger on it. So I'm hoping that will result in better images. I've only taken a couple pictures with this thing and only one with night mode, but the few I have taken have looked pretty good so far. Now, I do only have the Pro here, not the Pro Max, which is the only model with a 5x zoom. I just wasn't a fan of the pictures that they showed off during the Apple event, although some people have taken some really good ones that have showed up on social media, but honestly, I rarely go over 2x zoom, so that with the added weight and the price of the Max just didn't make sense for me. When you're in the camera app, there's some minor differences. You can see when I click on the One X now, I get these different simulated focal lengths, which appear to be just different crops, but still take full resolution images just due to how the image processing works. And the auto depth of field portrait mode seems to work decent as well, but there's still a lot to go over there. Like I said, I'll be taking a deep dive into both the 15 and the 15 Pro this week and doing a bunch of tests, so stay tuned for that. Early report, I like what they did on both the 15 and the 15 Pro this year. The design, although it isn't a huge change, is a good step forward on both of these. The natural titanium looks great on the 15 Pro, as does the black on the regular 15, and I can't wait to dig into these further. That is it for me today. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, feel free to hit that like button. If you want to see more tech-related content or have a contest to see who can produce the best iPhone 15 Pro macaroni sculpture, please subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next upload.